There is a line of them on your kitchen counter right now. Small, dark, moving in a thread so deliberate it looks drawn. You wiped them away yesterday. You sprayed the day before that. And here they are again. The same spot, the same path, the same relentless single-file procession from somewhere behind the baseboard to somewhere near the window frame. Your instinct is to reach for the vinegar, the borax, the can of whatever promises to end this permanently. Stop, because the fact that they keep coming back to the same spot is not a sign that you have a pest problem. It is a sign that something is happening in that precise location that you cannot detect. And they can. What you are watching is one of the most sophisticated chemical communication systems in the natural world, and before you shut it down, you need to understand what it has been telling them and what it should be telling you. What you are looking at, most likely, is a species from the subfamily Formicinae, or Myrmicinae, the two groups responsible for the vast majority of household ant trails across North America and Europe. It does not matter much which species. What matters is what every one of them shares, a trait so fundamental it defines the entire order Hymenoptera at its most socially advanced. No individual ant in that line is making a decision. She is not choosing to walk across your counter. She is reading a chemical manuscript that was laid down hours, sometimes days before she arrived, and she is following it with a fidelity that would embarrass a GPS satellite. The trail she walks is made of pheromones, volatile compounds secreted from glands in her abdomen and deposited in quantities so small they are measured in picograms, trillionths of a gram. And the precision of that trail is not incidental. It is the nervous system of something much larger than any single ant. Here is where most people lose the thread. You see ants on your counter, and you think infestation. You think dirty kitchen, open sugar jar, failure of hygiene. But the trail you are watching has almost nothing to do with your cleanliness. Researchers at the University of Sydney demonstrated that ant scouts will investigate and mark trails to moisture sources, structural gaps, and thermal gradients long before they ever find food. She is not coming back because you left crumbs out. She is coming back because that spot on your counter, near the window frame, is telling her something about the environment that you are not equipped to notice. And this is where you need to pay closer attention. A single scout ant leaves the colony and moves through your home in what looks like aimless wandering. It is not. She is surveying. She is reading humidity with her antennae, detecting temperature differentials through sensory hairs so fine they respond to fractions of a degree, and she is cataloging chemical signatures left by other organisms, some of them organisms you very much do not want in your walls. When she finds something relevant, she returns to the colony and lays a pheromone trail behind her. But the trail is not a simple line. It is a graded signal. The strength of the pheromone, the frequency with which she redeposits it, the specific blend of compounds she uses, all of this encodes information. Distance, quality of the resource, urgency. Other ants follow the trail, and if what they find at the end confirms the signal, they reinforce it with their own pheromone on the return trip. If it does not, the trail evaporates. The compound decays within minutes without reinforcement. So the trail you keep seeing on your counter is not a random incursion. It is a confirmed, peer-reviewed, collectively verified report. Dozens of individuals have walked it, assessed what is at the end, and decided it is worth maintaining. Let that settle for a moment. Every ant trail that persists is a consensus. It has been tested, validated, and reinforced by multiple independent scouts. If they keep coming back to the same spot, it is because that spot keeps passing inspection. And the question you should be asking is not how do I stop them? It is what are they finding? In many cases, what they are finding is moisture. A small leak behind a wall, condensation around a pipe joint, a window seal that has begun to fail. Ants detect these moisture sources long before they become visible to you, long before the mold starts, long before the wood begins to soften. There are documented cases of pest control professionals following persistent ant trails to discover water damage that would have cost thousands of dollars if it had gone undetected for another season. The ants were not the problem. They were the warning. But moisture detection is only one function of the system you have been trying to erase. Outside your home, in your garden, the same species that annoys you on the counter is performing work that would cost you a significant portion of your landscaping budget to replicate. Ants turn and aerate more soil than earthworms in most temperate ecosystems. Researchers in the journal Ecological Entomology found that ant colonies increase water infiltration in compacted soil by up to 40%, simply through their tunneling. Every nest entrance you see in the gap between your paving stones is the top of a network that may extend a meter or more underground. A network of chambers and passages that is actively pulling rainwater down into the root zone of your plants, preventing surface pooling and breaking up the compacted layers that suffocate root growth. No rototiller works as continuously. No aerator works as deep. And she is doing something else down there that matters to you directly. Ant colonies are voracious predators of the larvae and eggs of other insects, many of them species you genuinely do not want near your home. Flea larvae, fly pupae, the eggs of plant parasitic nematodes, termite scouts. That last one deserves its own sentence. In regions where subterranean termites threaten wooden structures, the single most effective natural suppression force is a healthy ant population in the surrounding soil. Ants and termites are ancient enemies, and ants are ferociously effective at intercepting termite exploratory tunnels before they ever reach your foundation. Remove the ants, and you remove the perimeter. And you have been spraying them. The can of insecticide you used last week did not distinguish between the ants on your counter and the ants patrolling the soil around your foundation. The residue traveled, the colony contracted, and the termite scouts that were being intercepted every spring now have a clear path. No chemical barrier you can buy at a hardware store patrols as persistently as she does. No spray adapts to a new entry point as quickly as she does. There is one more thing. The colony you have been trying to eliminate is not just a collection of individuals. It is, by any functional definition, a single organism. Researchers call it a superorganism, a system in which no individual ant possesses enough information or capability to survive alone. But the colony as a whole displays decision-making, memory, and behavior that rivals vertebrate cognition. The trail on your counter is one thought in a distributed brain that has been solving spatial, chemical, and ecological problems for over 100 million years. That is not a figure of speech. Ants in amber from the Cretaceous period are nearly indistinguishable from the ones in your kitchen. The system works. It has been tested longer than flowering plants have existed. It is not an infestation. It is an infrastructure. So here is what you do. If ants are trailing persistently to one spot inside your home, follow the trail to its origin. Check for moisture. Check the window seals. Check behind the appliances. Let them show you what they have found, and then fix the underlying issue. The trail will stop on its own once the source is resolved, because the pheromone degrades without reinforcement. You do not need to kill them. You need to listen to them. Outside, leave the nests. Leave the trails between the pavers. Leave the small mounds of excavated soil at the edges of your garden beds. That is aeration. That is pest suppression. That is drainage. That is a system so effective that agricultural researchers are now studying ant colonies as models for soil management in degraded farmland. She is engineering your soil, defending your perimeter, and reporting structural vulnerabilities in your home, quietly, continuously, and for free. The next time you see that line on your counter, do not wipe it away. Follow it. See where it leads. I want to hear from you. Have you ever followed an ant trail and discovered something unexpected? A leak? A gap? Something you did not know was there? Tell me about it in the comments.